All right. Yep. Good evening. And first of all, I'm extremely sorry for delaying on the videos because I'm busy with my work and my class schedules. So I'm extremely sorry. First of all. All right. So today I'm gonna talk about the next set of topics. So let me just, as usual, let's go through the syllabus. All right. So we spoke about the evolution of a business, right? We spoke about the evolution of business. So you remember, we spoke about the barter system, and then we spoke about indirect production, right? And we spoke about trade, and then we spoke about usage of money, and especially we spoke about evolution of money. So make sure, well, because this is the we have to always be with the trend, right? When we talk about business, we know there are so many things which is with the trend, especially evolution of money. So we have, you know, from using the physical exchanging instrument like money. Today we have gone to electronic money, as you all know. We talk about cryptocurrencies, we talk about credit cards. There are so many coming in, right? So make sure you be with the present trend, and I highly recommend Investopedia, which is one of the websites. Yeah, I'll just go through you. I mean, I'll go through and show you how to use that particular website where it's um well, you got a lot to learn on that, right? In terms of economy, or in terms of commerce, in terms of business studies. So yes, you could use that as one of the best resources to refer. In fact, well, there is a virtual or a kind of a game where you could invest by shares, sell shares, so you could improve your knowledge in share market as well. Okay. All right. Without any further delay, so we're going to talk about the industrial revolution. We're going to talk about commerce, trade, auxiliary services, and knowledge of economy. We're going to touch a bit of it, and yes, let's move forward. So let's ensure that we are within the syllabus, right? Let's move on to the sharing the screen properly. Yep. And yes, as some of you asked from me already, yeah, I do teach individual and group classes as well. So if you wish to, yes, you could contact me on this number. And yes, I will be helping out where we could discuss past papers as well every chapter. All right, let's get into the today's area. Well, the industrial revolution. What do you mean by industrial revolution? Well, we all understand that the world keeps on changing day by day, correct? So let me just read on this so better you understand more. The Industrial Revolution was the transition from creating goods by hand to using machines. It's very simple, right? Talking about the human evolution, we know people were finding difficulties, right? And then gradually they started using tools. So those small concepts or those small tools became an industry, became machineries. So that's what the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution shifted from an agrarian economy to a manufacturing economy where products were no longer made solely by hand but by machines. So this led to increased production and efficiency, lower prices, more goods, improved wages, and migration from rural areas to urban areas. Now you understand what is industrial revolution, all right? Well, there's a lot in regards to industrial revolution, so I highly recommend you go and search on this. All right, see, you are not an ordinary student, or you are an advanced level student. So you should understand the gravity of it. So don't always expect something to be spoon fed, right? And something to be spoon fed. Sorry for that incorrect pronunciation. So something to be spoon fed. So it's not going to help you, right? So make sure that you learn, right? So that's the actual learning, right? Because as teachers, teachers can only guide you. They could only show the right path of how do you want to go. So it's up to you to choose the path. And you will have ups and downs. You'll have to catch certain points. You'll have to leave certain points. So that's how the journey goes on, right? So make sure you take this as a serious concern and you put your efforts to learn, right? We are in the digital revolution. We are, everyone has enough access to information in your fingertips. I understand, many of you will definitely have a smartphone. So become a smart person by using a smartphone, right? So makes sense, correct? Okay, so I wanted you to ensure that you learn about the Industrial Revolution, especially the 1800 and 1700, the French Revolution, the British Revolution. Go through it, understand the history and what made this Industrial Revolution so popular, right? So let's talk about the characteristics of the Industrial Revolution. The main features involved in the Industrial Revolution were technological, socio-economic, and cultural. The technological changes include the following. Number one, the use of new basic materials, chiefly iron and steel. So we know you're talking about the Industrial Revolution. So we have so many machineries that is in place, right? In terms of producing anything, there is so much of machines that have been brought in. Today we have automated, robotic hands, even to manufacture cars, correct? And we have so many talking about the machines. So this is only possible with the basic materials, chiefly iron and steel. The use of new energy sources, including both fuels and motive power, such as coal, the steam engine, electricity, petroleum, and the internal combustion of engine. The invention of new machines, such as spinning jenny, the power loom that permitted increased production with a smaller expenditure of human energy. So all these happened, or they're talking about the Industrial Revolution, but people they find some difficulties, right? So people were finding difficulties to do certain tasks. So the machines helped people. So that's the beginning for Industrial Revolution. A new organization work known as the factory system, which entailed increased division of labor and a specialization of functions, right? So these are some of the main things that we could talk about, all right? All right. So as I told you, we're talking about the Industrial Revolution, right? We're talking about the Industrial Revolution. So remember, talking about the characteristics. I told you the characteristics involved in three areas. One is the technological part, socio-economic, and culture. So here, I've given only the changes in the technological aspect. So it's up to you to search on the socio-economic and culture. See, as an example, talking about the Industrial Revolution in terms of culture. Well, it's very simple, right? We have a mixed culture, even the way that we dress, the way we talk. So it is having an influence, right? So in that particular way, you could understand, right? We are more using on, smartphones. It's not our culture. So someone's culture has become an influence. So that's a very simple example. So you could do more analysis on this and you find the answers for it, right? So you improve your knowledge on it. So I have given only the technological part, right? So there is an impact on socio-economic and culture as well. All right, talking about the important innovations or what to the industrial revolution, the best or some of the well-known or more famous innovations were steam engines, which is used to power steam locomotives, steam boats, steam ships, and machines in factories. So the steam engine itself has led many sectors to uplift themselves. Transportation, production, manufacturing, you name it, right? And then talking about the electric generators and electric motors, right? And then incandescent lamp or light bulb, telegraph and the telephone, and the internal combustion of engines in automobile, whose mass production was perfected by Henry Ford in the early 20th century. Ford, one of the world famous vehicles, right? So it was invented by Henry Ford. I believe that he was the inventor of cars. I believe in the modern history. All right. So these are some of the important innovations. So see, you don't expect a question in your paper to explain about the Industrial Revolution properly. No, I haven't ever seen a question such. But yes, there might be questions rising up about the Industrial Revolution, maybe in MCQ. So it's good that you should know the journey of why do we talk about Industrial Revolution? It has some sort of influence in business. That's what we're talking about Industrial Revolution. So you understand the concept and why do we learn it, right? Talking about the advantages, well, technological advances, obviously, right? You name any industry, right? There are so many technological advances from personal use to office, for education, transportation, communication, you name it. In every part, there is so many advancements in terms of the industrial revolution, lower cost in technology, obviously. So, due to the invention of technology, it has led to lower the cost of production, more job opportunities. People, yeah, they get more job opportunities, improve transportation. So, these are some of the, you can like plenty of advantages. Again, it's up to you. You do an analysis, you find advantages. I have given only few. Talking about the disadvantages, yes, today, the entire world is seriously addressing this issue, which is the global warming. Why global warming? It's obviously because of the environmental pollution. So, what is leading to environmental pollution? The more you use the technology, or the base or the basement was laid, or the first seed was planted by the industrial revolution to the global warming. Undoubtedly, yes. And wider gap between the rich and poor due to division of labor and capital. So I would like to relate one point on this. There's a concept called brain draining, right? There are so many educated engineers, doctors, highly skillful professions who actually, after a certain period of time, they migrate to another country, especially Sri Lankans. I have got so many friends who are out from the engineering faculty. Once they become engineers, they tend to find a job in, uh, Gulf country, or they go for Middle East. Why? Because that's called the brain draining concept. Why? Because there's a big gap between rich and poor due to division of labor. Because those countries pay well. In our country, we don't have the potential to pay them. Why? Because we are not utilizing in order to generate more revenue. So these are some of the concerns. So this is an disadvantage. Of course, talking about dollar inflow, yes, in that aspect, of course, people working on abroad, they send money to our country. It is an advantage. Agree. But what extent is the question, right? Question is to you. Answer is up to you. And leads to migration of workers to cities, automation, and repetitive tasks. This is also one disadvantage. Talking about any profession in in Sri Lanka, well, undoubtedly, the first city comes to your mind is Colombo, right? Talk about any investors. The first place they think of is Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka. Why? Again, that's the concern, right? It leads to migration of workers to cities, right? Because you have ports, you have airport, you have the transportation network, you have good communication network, right? Or you name it. So all these are pressurizing more or making people to move towards Colombo more and more. So that's one disadvantage, which is caused due to industrial revolution. All right, and excessive use of fossil fuels. You know what is fossil fuels? Petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, right? Coal, the fossil fuels. And if in fact right? I mean, using the fossil fuels when you filter or the refinery process, the last I believe is polythene, right? And plastic are also some of the separations of fossil fuel, uh, the refinery process. So, when you talk about plastic and polythene, how far it is polluting the environment. And poor living conditions in the vicinity of factories. Yes, right. There is a slavery concept. Talking about Sri Lanka, see, one of the main income source, or one of the, right, I'm sorry, talking about one of the main income source or imports. I'm sorry, exports are income to Sri Lanka. Yes, I mean that is 1% of GDP contribution, right, and almost 10 to 15% of contribution in terms of export income. It's key, but we witness. You go to tea estates and you see the living condition of those people. it's so hard to digest. It's so hard to even look at them. So it is, you know, we collectively we are responsible for it, and it's leading poor living conditions, vicinity of factors. Correct. So yes, these are some of the disadvantages as well. But I'm not going to say that there's only more advantage or more disadvantage. No, everything you do in your life, there will be pros and cons. There will be advantages and disadvantages. It's a matter of to scale them up. And if you feel that there are more advantages, you go with it. And if you feel there are more disadvantages, well, it's better to drop it. All right. So that's about the industrial revolution. So I hope you get a good idea of the industrial revolution. So in order to, improve your understanding and idea, it's better if you could write an essay on this. Right. So see, some of you might argue, well, I'm doing business, why should I write an essay? Well, you write more, you improve your writing skills. Number one, you write more, you improve your comprehensive power, and you could easily recall many things, right? So, and then, yeah, it could give you more idea of what sort of impact has this industrial revolution has created. In fact, if you're school children, you could even have a debate competition organized through clubs between groups. You could have whether the industrial revolution has led to a good path or it has led to a adverse path. You can have a debate. So you choose a creative learning methodology which will help you to improve your skills and idea. So don't always stick to this traditional learning method, just going through the book, taking notes, reading. No, it's not going to work anymore. You change the way of you learning. That's very important. I just still remember in my school days, what I do is, I always take a particular topic and I imagine there are plenty of students in front of me and try to explain them. I try to teach them. So this is how I improved my skills in terms of business studies. So, you could have your own way of learning. So it's up to you, right? Choose which suits you, correct? All right. That's about the industrial revolution. Today we're going to talk about the trade auxiliary services, or in simple terms, we're going to talk about commerce. Okay, that's also one of your within your syllabus. And here we're going to talk about the commerce. Well, I'll be talking about what is commerce. Commerce is the combination of trade and support services. In other terms, commerce is equal to trade plus support services. Trade plus support, right? So here, commerce is inclusive of trade and auxiliary services. You already know what is trade. Trade is something that is involved in exchanging goods and services using a transferable instrument, or in simple terms, it's buying and selling, right? So auxiliary services, we call them as commercial services. Auxiliary services, or we call them as commercial services, such as banking, transportation, insurance, communication, warehousing, right? Plus trade, buying and selling, which could happen within a particular country's border, which is considered as local. And within local, you have two splits, which is retail and wholesale trade. And then if you are involving in trade, right, beyond the country border, that's called foreign trade, which is divided into two, again, imports and exports. Correct? So you understand what is commerce. Commerce is equal to trade plus auxiliary services. Trade is split into two, local trade and foreign trade. The auxiliary services has five commercial services. One is banking, transportation, insurance, communication, and warehousing. So we'll be talking about these in detail on our next session. For now, understand the concept of commerce. All right. So that's all for today. Much for joining and going through the entire video. Again, a kind reminder, yes, if you want to go for individual group classes, you could contact on this number. So the person will definitely help you. So yes, thank you very much for joining. Have a good one and take care of yourself. And please stay tuned for more videos on this.